Other images also are seen over there. What should be there? Hello.
Let me check.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, this happens because you had, I think, the light of focus of the light is very bright.
Okay, yes, yes. I'll see, sir. I'll see. Thank you, sir.
Because actually for this you need chroma curtain, but no issue. Let it be okay, sir. We can go with that.
पानी की चम्मच खाली माइक में आने साधो तरी खाली वाले पाहिजे आपले बरोबर आहे का आपण कुठे दिसत नव्हते एससी का खाली येतो हॉल मधली उशी आणा ना
पूर्ण पडदा इकडे करून टाकावं लागते इथून लाईट पाहिजे राहुल बनसोडे सर.
येस सर.
गिरासे सरांना फोन केलात ना?
हो, जॉईन आहे सर, मीटिंगला जॉईन आहे.
येस 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 येस. बनसोडे सर.
Yes, sir.
At what time should we start? Shall we wait for 5 minutes for the participant to join?
Yes, sir.
Madam, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, all.
Yes, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, madam.
Yes.
अरे जॉईन कर ना दादा. सर्वांना गुड मॉर्निंग, सुप्रभात.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think it's time to start now. We
Has
can
the
ask to. We can ask to. Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes.
Has the principals joined?
Yes, sir. Principal has been joined.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
But he has muted his video.
His video is off, no?
Yes.
Sorry.
Bansode sir, BS Bansode sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Principal sir, Principal sir is joined, sir.
Okay, shall we start then?
Yes.
Sir, Bansod sir, please once check ma'am had joined or not.
Ma'am was there.
I'm there, sir. We can start.
Yes, yes, ma'am is there. Yes, yes. Sir, will you start now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
A very good morning, one and all present here. All the honorable dignitaries, honorable resource persons, and my dear participants. May I call upon all of you to stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please unmute. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You are on.
Yes. A very good morning, one and all, once again. On this beautiful morning, the president of the institution, that is Sanjeevan Gramin Vaidikya Samajik Sahayata Pratishthan Onde, and the inaugurator of this program, the international conference, Honorable Vijay Patil Sahib, the Joint Director of Higher Education, Konkan Region Panvel, Honorable Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, Honorable Dr. A.D. Sawant sir, the former Pro-VC of University of Mumbai, and the former Vice Chancellor of Jaipur University, Rajasthan, and all the esteemed resource persons that we have today, Honorable Dr. Girase sir, Honorable Dr. Kinjal Ahi ma'am, Honorable Mr. Kishore Hirade, and all the participants, the principal of the college, Honorable Dr. Vinod Sonamne sir, the director of the institution, Honorable Dr. Chetna Patil ma'am, and the vice principal of the college, and all the participants, and my dear colleagues. Today we have gathered here on virtual platform for the multidisciplinary international e-conference. So on behalf of the institution and college, I heartily welcome you all to the multidisciplinary international e-conference on an impact of COVID-19 on economy, sustainable development, and health of global society today. Dear friends, it is our privilege and duty to express, welcome you all on this platform. Therefore, at the very beginning of this program, may I invite the principal of our college, Honorable Dr. Vinod Sonone sir, to deliver his welcome speech. Over to Dr. Vinod Sonone sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all. माननीय मुख्य अतिथि जी, अध्यक्ष महोदय, सम्मानित शिक्षकगण, प्रमुख वक्ता और मेरे प्रिय छात्र, आप सभी को मेरी तरफ से प्यार भरा नमस्कार। आज के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिषद में आपकी उपस्थिति हमारे महाविद्यालय के लिए बहुत गौरवपूर्ण और सम्मानजनक है। आप सभी ने अपना अमूल्य समय देकर इस मौके को संपूर्ण किया है। इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिषद में मुझे आप सभी का स्वागत करने का मौका दिया गया है। आज इस महाविद्यालय की प्रगति से पूरा जिला परिचित है। यहाँ की शिक्षा संबंधित गतिविधियां, साथ ही साथ पढ़ाई और माहौल को देखकर अभिभावक बेहद खुश हो जाते हैं। अब मैं अपनी बातों में आगे बढ़ते हुए मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूंगा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिषद में हमारे संस्था संजीवन ग्रामीण वैद्यकीय सामाजिक सहायता प्रतिष्ठान के अध्यक्ष माननीय श्रीमान विजय पाटिल साहब मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में उपस्थित है। हृदय की गहराइयों से मैं आपका हमारे महाविद्यालय में स्वागत करता हूं। हमारे अतिथि के रूप में डॉक्टर संजय जगताप, विभागीय सह संचालक उच्च शिक्षण विभाग महाराष्ट्र शासन, आप जैसे जनलोकप्रिय अधिकारी की उपस्थिति हमारे महाविद्यालय को हमारा महाविद्यालय धन्य हो गया है। आपका भी हृदय की गहराइयों से मैं स्वागत करता हूं। डॉक्टर अरुण सावंत सर, वैज्ञानिक और पूर्व कुलगुरु, जयपुर विश्वविद्यालय, आपके मार्गदर्शन से हमारा महाविद्यालय उन्नति कर पा रहा है। आपका भी हृदय से मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूं। आज के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिषद में विद्वान, प्रतिभावान, प्रमुख वक्ता दक्षिण अफ्रीका से डॉक्टर पंकज गिरासे सर, गुजरात से डॉक्टर किंचर आहिर मैडम और दिल्ली से डॉक्टर किशोर हिराडे सर उपस्थित है। इन सभी का हृदय की गहराइयों से मैं स्वागत करता हूं। इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिषद में सभी सहभागी विद्वान, प्रतिभावादी प्राध्यापक एवं छात्रों से मैं स्वागत करता हूं। मैं आप सभी विद्वान अतिथि एवं छात्रों को महाविद्यालय का अल्प परिचय देने का प्रयास कर रहा हूं। संस्था के अध्यक्ष माननीय विजय पाटिल साहब ने सामाजिक जिम्मेदारी समझकर वर्ष 2002 में विक्रमगढ़ जैसे आदिवासी क्षेत्र में, जहां पे उच्च शिक्षण की व्यवस्था नहीं थी और प्रतिकूल स्थिति में, कला, वाणिज्य और विज्ञान महाविद्यालय शुरू किया है। इस महाविद्यालय को ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचाने में और सफलतापूर्वक स्थापित करने में माननीय विजय पाटिल साहब का अद्भुतपूर्ण योगदान है। कठोर संघर्ष, प्रयास और मेहनत के बल पर आज हमारा महाविद्यालय इस क्षेत्र में सबसे उत्कृष्ट महाविद्यालयों में से एक बन गया है। हमारे छात्र पदवी प्राप्त करने के बाद समाज में सम्मान से जीवन जी रहे हैं। गवर्नमेंट जॉब, प्राइवेट जॉब, बिजनेस, पॉलिटिक्स, हर क्षेत्र में उन्होंने उच्च शिखर पे महाविद्यालय का नाम रोशन किया है। इस वर्ष एमएससी केमिस्ट्री शिक्षा शुरू करके प्रगति की ओर महाविद्यालय ने और एक कदम बढ़ाया है। आप सभी से हम उम्मीद करेंगे कि आप अंत तक हमें प्रोत्साहन करते रहेंगे। धन्यवाद।
अरे मला झाले.
Thank you so much.
हा मला
Audience, all the participants, may I kindly request you to keep your mics mute, please, while speaking, especially while speaking the guest. Thank you very much, Dr. Sonune sir, for welcoming all the dignitaries and participants over here. And thank you for once again for highlighting the role of this institute of the college in this tribal area of Palghar district, which has been playing an instrumental role since 2002 by providing the different programs. Thank you so much. Dear participants, it is our also privilege and duty to welcome you with the beautiful song. So may I request Professor Vishal Nikam sir to play the beautiful song for welcoming the participants. Over to Nikam sir.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं
Thank you so much, Vishal sir. Now, may I call upon the convener of this conference, which is jointly organized by Commerce and Science Association in collaboration with IPSC of our college, esteemed Professor Rahul Bansode sir, to deliver his introductory speech. Professor Rahul Bansode sir will highlight the aims and objectives. Aims and objectives of the conference which we are experiencing on this platform. Over to Professor Rahul Bansode sir.
May I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Good morning, all of you. Honorable President of our institution, Sri Vijay Patil sir, Honorable Joint Director, Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, Higher Education, Panvel Region, Konkan, Honorable Dr. A.D. Sawant sir, former Vice Chancellor of Jaipur University, Rajasthan, former Pro VC of University of Mumbai, respected Principal of our college, Dr. Vinod Sonone sir, respected Vice Principal, Dr. Chetna Patil Madam, all the participants, colleagues, research scholars, and students. I welcome you all again on behalf of the college. I am here for the introductory speech. Dear participants, all of you know COVID-19 pandemic affected every sectors, not only India, but their entire world. Therefore, we have organized a multidisciplinary international e-conference on COVID-19 pandemic on economy, sustainable development, health, and global society. Objectives of the conference are known: the affected areas during this pandemic situation, through the exchange views and ideas of the eminent and dynamic speakers of this conference. Therefore, we have invited eminent speakers for their expertise on this topic. We have also invited research papers and various themes related to the main topic. Pandemic are nothing new. There were many types of pandemic in the world. About 10 major pandemics have come and gone. The main pandemics are Antonine Plague, Justinine Plague, the Black Death, smallpox, cholera, Spanish flu, Asian flu, swine flu, and we are recently suffering from COVID-19. The pandemic has hit the entire world in March 2020 and had adverse effect on development of the world and human life. We are still stuck in the jaws of this highway. The effect of the pandemic should be studied in various fields. This research study should come up with a new framework and an online international e-conference has been organized for this sincerely purpose. Research papers from India and abroad have submitted highly researched articles in the conference. It is a matter of great pride for us to have international quality resource person for this international e-conference. We are very happy to be hosting an international conference in a tribal dominated taluka like Vikramgarh. We are seeing the pandemic of COVID-19 destroying people's lives. Our college and organizing team have worked hard to make the international conference success, and we have reached this day. We learned a lot of technical things because we organized it virtually. And I would like to point out here that is a very remarkable that we are all striving to achieve of the objectives of our conference. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for the introductory speech of this conference. Now, may I request the inaugurator of this program and the president of this of our institution, Honorable Vijay Patil Sahib, who has established this institution for the upliftment of the local populace of the Vikramgarh Tehsil and Palghar district. So may I request Honorable Patil Sahib to grace us with your precious words inaugurating this ceremony. Over to Patil Sahib.
आज कला वाणिज्य व विज्ञान महाविद्यालय उंदे तालुका विक्रमगड या महाविद्यालयामध्ये आंतरराष्ट्रीय परिषद होत आहे याबाबत मला सार्थ अभिमान आहे आणि या परिषदेसाठी आमच्या महाविद्यालयातील सर्व शिक्षक आणि शिक्षकेतर कर्मचारी यांनी जो पुढाकार घेऊन ही परिषद यशस्वी करत आहात त्याबद्दल आपल्याला व आपल्या सर्व सहकार्यांना माझ्यातर्फे हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आज कला वाणिज्य विज्ञान महाविद्यालय उंदे तालुका विक्रमगड या विद्यालयामार्फत आंतरराष्ट्रीय परिषद होत आहे. या परिषदेला माझ्यातर्फे हार्दिक शुभेच्छा आणि या परिषदेचं उद्घाटन आज विधिवत झालं असं मी जाहीर करतो.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Sorry, sir. Thank you so much. With the sweet words of President Saib, his words are the source of inspiration and motivations for us while organizing such kind of activities in our college. Now, may I request The director of the institution, Honorable Chetna Patil ma'am. Chetna Patil ma'am will highlight on the role played by the institution so far. Over to Dr. Chetna Patil ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining with us.
Good morning, everyone, all the respected dignitaries, the participants, and all the students. A very good morning to everyone. Myself, Dr. Chetna Patil. I'm here to give a brief about our institution. Our institution, Sanjeevan Gramin Vaidikya and Samajik Sahayata Pratishthan Sanchalit, is working since the year 1994. As the name itself says, Sanjeevan and Gramin and Samajik Sahayata, we conduct social programs for the local populace like Shetkari Melawa for farmers, medical camps, and senior citizen camps for senior citizens program in this tribal area of our Vikramgarh Tehsil. We have established Art, Commerce and Science College in the very tribal area of Palghar district in order to disseminate higher education despite of many difficulties. We have started the college in the year 2002 with UG programs, but have now established post-graduation program also in chemistry. Those who cannot attend college regularly, we have also started Yashwantrao Chauhan Maharashtra Open University Study Center for them. We have started the college with only 65 students and we have near about 800 students, in which 95% of the students are from scheduled tribe. Ever since the establishment of the college, it has been playing an instrumental role in bringing tribal people of this area into the mainstream of higher education. As a result of it, thousands of students are graduated, postgraduated, and some of them have also cleared NET set exams, while various of our students are placed in government and various sectors as described by our honorable principal sir. In spite of situating in tribal area, all the staff members always try to catch up the recent technology and try to implement it for our overall development of students. Our focus is to develop social and economical and educational reformation of the tribal populace in this extremely remote and inaccessible area of Palghar district in Maharashtra. There is a lot to say about it, but I'll wind up over here and I'll give all the best wishes for this international e-conference to everyone. So thank you, and over to Bansode sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your sweet words. And thank you for highlighting on the role played by the institution so far. And it has been playing a very instrumental role in disseminating higher education in this tribal area undoubtedly. And inadvertently, I forgot the name of our guest, who is the chief guest for the valedictory ceremony of this conference. Honorable Dr. Bhagwan Rajput sir, the principal of Talasari College. I welcome you, sir, from the heart of hearts on behalf of the institution and our college and organizing committee of this conference. Dear participants, we are moving towards the last part of this inaugural function. It is our duty and privilege to express deep sense of gratitude towards all the dignitaries and the participants and the resource persons present, being present for this inaugural function. So may I now request the coordinator of this international e-conference, Professor Anil Patade sir, to propose a vote of thanks.
Now audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
A very good morning, everybody. I stand here to propose a vote of thanks. I am Professor Anil Patade as the coordinator of this conference. It is my privilege and duty to express my gratitude towards the dignitaries on the occasion. Dear participants, Commerce and Science Association, in collaboration with ICPESH, our College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Onde, Taluka Vikramgarh, District Palghar, is jointly organized multidisciplinary international e-conference on an impact of COVID-19 pandemic on economy, sustainable development, and health of global society. So I extend my sincerely thankfulness to the president of Sanjeevan Gramin Vaidekiya and Samajik Sahayata Pratishthan and the inaugurator of the conference, Honorable Sri V.G. Patil Sahib, for giving a present and inaugurating the conference with your valuable words. I also express my heartfelt gratitude to the chief guest of our guest, Dr. A.D. Sawant sir, former Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai and Vice Chancellor of Jaipur University, Rajasthan, for his wishes for this conference. I am also grateful to the chief guest, Joint Director, Higher Education, Konkan Region, Panvel, Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, for his best wishes on the occasion. I am also grateful to the eminent speakers we have got today for this conference, Dr. Pankaj Gerase sir, Dr. Kinjal Ahir madam, and Mr. Kishore Hirade sir. I am also thankful to the Honorable Dr. Chetna Patil madam, Tuan Gramin, Vaidekiya and Samajik Sahayata Pratishthan Sanchalit, being a present and grace us with us your previous precious words. I also thank the principal of our college, Honorable Dr. Vinod Sonani sir, for giving permission and support us for the conference. I extend my thanks to express my sincere gratitude to all the participant students and my dear colleagues who have taken efforts for the international conference. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. Over to Bansode, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, so we are moving towards the session 1 of this conference. Rahul Bansode, sir, is Dr. Pankaj Gerase sir joined with us?
Yes, sir. Pankaj Gerase sir is joined.
Is Dr. P.D. Maske sir is with us now? Dr. P.D. Maske sir is there, sir?
Yes, sir, I am there.
Yes. Dear participant, once again, a very good morning to you all. I welcome you to the session 1 of this multidisciplinary international conference on impact of COVID-19 pandemic on economy, sustainable development, health of global society once again. Dear participants, we have as the keynote speaker in the session 1 of this conference, Honorable Dr. Pankaj Gerase from University of KwaZulu, Durban, South Africa, who is the dynamic personality today we have. And this session will be chaired by Dr. P.D. Maske from the Department of Chemistry of our college. At the very beginning, may I request Dr. Patil Yogesh sir to introduce the dynamic personality from South Africa, Honorable Dr. Pankaj Gerase sir. Over to Dr. Patil sir.
Thank you, Bansode sir.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Hello,
sir.
everyone.
Proceed.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Yogesh Patil from ACS College, Onde, Vikramgarh. As the member of organizing committee of the International E-Conference, I am happy to introduce the eminent resource person, respected Dr. Pankaj Gerase sir. Sir received his BSc honor from R.C. Patel ACS College, NMU, and MSc from Ferguson College, University of Pune with outstanding grade. He has completed doctoral degree in medicinal chemistry, University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, South Africa. His remarkable achievement is that he is qualified Indian Patent Agent Examination 2019. He has published 8 international publications, and 3 manuscripts are under communication. He also worked as a project student in National Chemical Laboratory for synthesis study towards quinagolide under the guidance of Dr. Subhash Chavan. He has worked in patent department in Origin Discovery Technologies Limited, Pune. He is involved in writing patent application under Indian Patent Office. He is also involved in writing and publishing 3 review articles such as medicinal chemistry and organic chemistry. Sir has published 4 methodologies on transmission reaction so far. We are very pleased to have Dr. Pankaj Girase sir here today. And so on the behalf of Sanjeevan Gramin Vaidyakiya and Samajik Sahayata Pratishthan's Arts, Commerce and Science College Onde and organizer of e-conference, I warmly welcome on the occasion of International e-conference on the topic an impact of COVID-19 pandemic on economy, sustainable development and health of global society being held today. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for a beautiful introduction of this resource person. Dear participants, I know very well that you are eagerly awaiting for the keynote speech by the keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Pankaj Girase sir. I may not take your much of time here. Pankaj Girase sir, in a very short period of time, he has achieved so many academicians, medals and capacities and degrees. So may I invite Honorable Dr. Pankaj Girase sir to take over the dais for his keynote speech. Over to Honorable Dr. Pankaj Girase sir.
Very good morning, everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once again, we welcome you, sir. You are audible, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bansode. And I would like to thank even Dr. Yogesh for giving such a nice introduction. Actually, it was very impressive. Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to congratulate a team of ACS College for organizing such a wonderful event. Shall I share my screen now?
Yes,
we'll
sir.
move
Yes,
to
sir. Yes,
today's
sir.
talk, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
I think it has been disabled by the host, so I'm not able to share my screen.
May I request Vishal Nikam, sir, please support sir in this regard.
Yes, sir. Now you can share.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vishal, sir.
Yeah, it's audible. Is it visible for everyone now?
Actually, sir, I think you had your only copy visible. That is, some folders are there.
Okay, now?
No, sir. PPT is not opened.
Please stop sharing and select the screen. Share screen.
Dear sir, can I suggest you?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir.
Please close your window. This window, please close it.
Okay.
Then go back and open your PPT and then share again. Stop sharing. Firstly, stop sharing.
Okay, first of all, I have to stop sharing.
Stop sharing, yes. Then go back. Open your PPT.
Is it opened?
Yeah, I have opened it.
Now share again.
All right.
Now select your PPT. In second,
Hold it for a moment.
second window.
Now?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
All right. Okay. Dr. Yogesh Patil has already introduced myself, so I don't need to introduce much now. Myself Pankaj Girase, and I hold PhD degree from University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, South Africa. These are today's highlights. First, we are going to see the SARS study of TB active piperazine hybrids. Followed by, we are going to see the correlativity between COVID-19 and tuberculosis, how both of them are correlated to each other, and impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy and mental health. So these are the today's highlights. Before moving towards today's session, I would like to discuss one incident which has happened to me.
Yes, sir. Sir, you are not audible now.
Sir, you are not audible. Please. I think it happened by me only by mistake.
Okay,
please,
okay.
Please make a
yeah.
Yes. Sir.
How is it now?
Yeah. Yes.
How is it?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So should I repeat, or is it fine?
Is it fine, sir?
Okay, okay, it's fine. So before moving to today's talk, I would like to share one small incident. Of course, it is related to our today's talk. Before moving to South Africa, my professor has assigned me one topic, spindle kinase inhibitor. Actually, on that, I prepared a lot and I went to South Africa. But the moment I arrived there, next day, my prof, he called me in his cabin for the discussion. And he said me that you are not allowed to work on this topic because this topic has already been given to one of the PhD student who has joined just before 1 week, just 1 week before me. And he had asked me that if you have any idea in your mind. Then I was quiet for a moment. Actually, I was mentally prepared for the topic what he has given to me. And I was blank for a moment. And the meantime, one guy has come to my prof. He came to meet and they were having chat on tuberculosis. They were discussing, I can't really remember all the things, but they were talking about statistics of tuberculosis, number of TB patients, death rate and all in African region. And that has enlightened my mind. The moment guy went back, I asked my prof, how if I work on tuberculosis? My prof said, yeah, I don't mind you in working on tuberculosis. He just asked me to prepare a small proposal on it. Then I went back, I did a lot of literature search and all on tuberculosis. I found plenty of heterocyclic moieties. I did get plenty of review articles which were being reported on tuberculosis on different heterocycles. But there was only one moiety, though on which there were many literatures published on tuberculosis, but there was no review article on that, which was piperazine. Then from there, I got an idea, and we started writing tuberculosis with permission, and we got published it. So, and this review article was accepted in European Journal of Medicinal Chemistry in first attempt itself. Okay, this is what the title of our review article, and I have even captured here graphical abstract. Among these heterocyclics, we picked piperazine as a core moiety. It has used as a core moiety. Some places it has even used as a linker subunit. So these are the objectives of today's talk. First, we are going to see to bring the awareness of tuberculosis and its need in medchem research area. Why we really need to worry about tuberculosis after looking at Indian statistics and global statistics, and it's really important to work on it in medicinal chemistry research area. Followed by that, we are going to see how piperazine is active against tuberculosis strain, and it's a SAR study. SAR study is nothing but the structural activity relationship, how the peripheral changes on the core moiety affects the activity, affects the biological activity. That's what the SAR. And followed by that, we are going to see space for the future researchers to develop novel piperazine containing TB active drug molecules. Towards the end of the session, we are going to see the correlativity between tuberculosis and COVID-19, their symptoms, and the impact of COVID-19. Am I going a little fast, or is it fine?
It's reasonable, sir. Reasonable.
Yeah, it's reasonable, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sir.
Okay. Yeah, if I'm going little fast, then you can ask
yes,
me
sir,
to
I
go
will.
slow,
Yes,
okay?
sir. I will kindly interrupt you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So according to World Health Organization global report, tuberculosis is 13th biggest cause of death, and it's the second leading infectious killer disease after COVID-19. And according to 2020 statistics, 1.5 million of people died from tuberculosis in overall the globe, and globe has recorded 10 million TB patients in 2020 itself, and India alone has reported 1.63 million of TB patients. These statistics really force us to worry about tuberculosis. So looking at these statistics, once upon in a time, TB used to be a very serious and life-threatening disease, but after evolution in medical science, people are not not afraid of that disease actually, like what we are afraid of coronavirus. This chart I have kept. Yeah, before moving to next slide, one more point I would like to discuss here. What happens generally for TB patients, doctors, they prescribe the first line TB drugs, isoniazid and rifampicin. These are the very common drugs which are being prescribed by the doctor to tuberculosis patient. But with the time, tuberculosis has been converted into, in some patients, tuberculosis has been converted into the multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. In multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, what happens, the patients shows resistance towards the first line TB drugs, they shows resistance towards the isoniazid and rifampicin. So for that, they will, and in that case, they describe patients second line TB drugs, which are highly hazardous and toxic. For example, levofloxacin, bedaquiline, linezolid, so on drugs they prescribe for second line multi-drug resistance tuberculosis patients. And this treatment is really having a lot of side effects. It goes for a year and 1.5 to 2 years under the chemotherapy. Patient has to go under the chemotherapy for 1.5 to 2 years. And to avoid this kind of tricky treatment, it is really challenging for the future researchers to develop novel first line TB drugs, so that we can overcome such kind of treatment and get cure TB patients by first line TB drug itself. Here I have captured a chart in which top 13 high TB patient countries, in which if you see in this chart, India itself is having 47% of tuberculosis patient, and followed by China. But if you compare, though the Indian population is high, but comparatively Chinese do have the high population like India only. But still China could manage tuberculosis compared to India. They do have a high number of TB patients, but they are like much lesser than India. They are having only 18%, followed by Indonesia, then Philippines, South Africa, Nigeria, and Pakistan. These are some of the common drugs which are having piperazine moiety, and these are the well-known marketed drugs which are prescribed for the TB patients. So now, after these slides, we are going to see the structural activity relationship of TB active moieties, which I have captured from my review article itself. We will see some of the literatures, and we'll discuss the SAR study. While discussing this SAR study, we realized that in some of the places, piperazine itself doesn't act as a TB active moiety, but it improves solubility. It acts as a pharmacological moiety. It acts as a biological active group. It even brings the interaction between drug and enzyme, and it's found more favored over the other heterocyclic moieties. So here I have captured one of the publications which was published by Roha et al. In 2017. Roha et al. Has synthesized 4 series of piperazine molecules in which they have made the hybrid of 3,5-dinitrophenyl triazole with oxazole derivatives, and substituted with piperazine, which was having different substituents on.
Hello, I kindly request all the participants, please keep your mic on mute mode.
Yeah, so among those 4 series, 3B has really shown the good activity, and they do have used positive controls to compare the activity of these molecules with isoniazide and rifampicin, which we have already discussed that they are being used for the first line TB drug. Here I have captured isoniazide and rifampicin, and their activity has been highlighted here. And if you compare this activity with compound number 3DA, which shows the better activity than that. And after discussing the SAR study, which reveals that preparing before this compound was insoluble actually, then after making the salt of this compound, it enhances its solubility and shows the better activity. Then in another reference, we can see the Patel et al., who has designed and developed a good number of piperazine hybrids with the triazines. In that they have in this article also they brought different substituents on piperazine and check their activity, and they found when the substituents was fluoro and diphenyl, it really showed benzyl diphenyl, it really showed better activity compared to any other substituents. And the SAR study itself has revealed that piperazine has act as a pharmacological property, though the triazine was biological active, but without piperazine it was not able to work has worked after attaching piperazine moiety. Looking at all published their article in Bioinorganic and Medicinal Chemistry in 2015, they also have made the piperazine hybrids with benzthiazolones. If you see in this article, when piperazine was substituted, piperazine was substituted with isobutyl group. It has shown 0.008 micromolar activity, which is really highly potent than any other TB drug. And the SAR study has revealed that the order of reactivity of substituents like alkyl is better than cycloalkyl is better than phenyl. Then this is how they come to know they come to know that how the peripheral changes on piperazine can make a significant difference in their activity. And piperazine, the role of piperazine, of course, was here also to enhance the solubility. And benzothiazinone has act as an anti-TB activity. In 2019, this is a very recent article when actually we were going through our review when we were going through our review article. This was recently published article at that time. Marwadi, they had published in European Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, and they do publish they do reported their moieties on thiophenyl dihydroquinoline with piperazine hybrid. In this also they have got comparative activity with positive controls. Here they used ciprofloxacin as a positive control, and the activity was comparable with the standard drug. And the biological and the SAR study revealed that piperazine has act as a biological active group. Here I have captured just piperazine on replace. They did replace piperazine with other heterocyclic moieties also, but in that case they did not get much better activity compared to piperazine. Then Zigzud et al. Has published their article in 2018. Here they use nitrofuranilnamide hybrids. They just made the combination of piperazine with nitrofuranilamide hybrids and compared their anti-TB activity with isoniazid and rifampicin. If you compare the most potent compound, which has really shown high efficacy against H37 RV strain. This is the very basic strains they use for Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And if you see its activity, it's shown activity 0.04 micromolar, which is far better than the standard drugs, isoniazid and rifampicin. And the SAR study here also displayed that piperazine has enhanced the activity, and the nitrofuranil, this is well-known moiety for anti-TB, nitrofuran, and which has, of course, which has anti-TB activity. Just to enhance its activity, they had introduced here piperazine. In yet another slide, we will be seeing that Yan et al. Has reported the series of piperazine and oxime containing benzothiazolinone compounds. In this also they have compared their activity, compared the activity of most potent compound with rifampicins and isoniazid. And here also, if you see SAR study, it reveals that the use of piperazine unit enhances the activity with standard anti-TB active moiety. Followed by the oxime, it used to get effective anti-TB activity. Now, in yet another slide, Morosky et al. Has reported imidathiazole analogs. In this also they have reported plenty of molecules. If you see here, why they have brought as a some places they have brought as a different heterocycles, but when the actual combination of imidazole and imidathiazole with sorry, I made an error here in spelling. So imidathiazole with pyridinyl piperazine. With pyridinyl, it has really shown superior activity compared to any other group. And the SAR study reveals that the bioactive moiety imidazothiazole itself is act as a biological active group, and piperazine is most favor over the other linker for anti-TB activity. They did tested for different targets like anti-cancer and all. Among that, they found piperazine had shown better activity towards the tuberculosis. Then followed by that, Vita et al. Has disclosed the same kind of work, and followed by we did SAR study for that, followed by Bobesh et al., Wang et al., then Suresh et al., then Patel. This for the further for detail info, I'm just giving you a brief information of this article, because it is not possible to explain all the information due to the time limitation. So we will
Hello.
just go through.
Dear participant.
We'll just go.
Please continue,
so we'll
sir.
just go through it. Yeah. We'll just go through it. Then Naidu et al. Has also disclosed the isoxazoles. Isoxazoline also well-known moiety for tuberculosis. There are many, like while going literature search, I have seen most of the researchers, they are working on medicinal chemists, they are working on isoxazoline, and they have really got good activity. Just to improve the solubility, here they have incorporated piperazine moiety, and SAR study itself reveals the importance of pharmacological behavior of piperazine. Then Macaro et al. Has published EMBO Molecular Medicinal Chemistry Journal in 2014. Here also they have made benzothiazolone, hybrids of benzothiazolone with piperazines, and they also have got really good activity. And SAR study here also shows the piperazine behavior as a pharmacological constituent. Then Jayapalla et al. Published their article in Bioinorganic and Medicinal Chemistry in 2014. Here also, they have disclosed the thiosemi-carbazoles, piperazine analogs, in that the active compound, the most potent compound they found when R was used as a methyl and methoxy group. And SAR study reveals that the antitubercular fragment, semi-thiocarbazole acted as an antitubercular fragment, and piperazine was helping it to make a biological active, was used as a biological active group. Then Chauhan et al. Has published their article in Medicinal Chemistry later. In this also they prepared thiazolone, tetrazole analogs. In that most potent compound were found when R was 4 parafluoro substituted phenyl ring, then 4-methoxy substituted phenyl ring, and ferrocyanide. And even SAR study also revealed that the piperazine unit was used as a bioactive unit. Then followed by this is all SAR studies I have captured, though I have captured in these slides. We really don't need to go through all the SAR study, because I think it's clear for all of you now how we have discussed the SAR study and how we checked the behavior of substituents on tuberculosis and activity towards the tuberculosis. Okay, so after publishing this review article, it has really helped us to develop a novel piperazine active moieties. So what we found here is we got to know that what kind of hybrid heterocycles can use with piperazine to get active agents against tuberculosis. And we designed and synthesized around 3 series of piperazine hybrids and tested them against anti-tuberculosis. And one molecule has really we have received highly potent, which is under communication. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to disclose my structures because that is still under communication. We have been communicated that, and it hasn't published yet. But it has really helped for us. So this can be help for the future researchers who really wants to pursue their career in medicam research area. So they can start even like the same way. They can choose their target first. They can do literature search. They can first write review article. From that they will come to know that what kind of literatures have been reported, and to get, and how can we get idea out of that to make our work more powerful. Okay, now we will see the correlation between tuberculosis and COVID-19. If you see the infection wise, both COVID-19 and tuberculosis, they are getting affect the respiratory system of human body. And symptoms wise also, both tuberculosis and COVID-19 are having some of the symptoms, not all, but some of these symptoms are same, such as cough, fever, difficulty in breathing, and lungs damage, and so on. So so far as all of you know, there is no specific drug has come in market for COVID-19, but we have seen during second wave of pandemic, most of the doctors, they have prescribed remdesivir, which is antiviral medicine, which is already there, which was already been used for antiviral, as an antiviral drug. So that was prescribed. Even similar way, if researchers who wants to try to make a new drug on tuberculosis, they can just mimic the same kind of already reported same kind of TB drug, like what we did here while working on tuberculosis. Similarly, they can mimic the structures and they can test them against the COVID-19 or any other viral, any other antivirals, any other viral strains. Okay, now we will see here, we will see the impact of COVID-19 and change in employment status. So this slide talks about the employees who are working in India and employees who has gone out of India, like Saudi Arabia, most of the Saudi Arabian countries. So what kind of status have been changed in their job? If you see here, 2% of employees, they have lost their job. They have completely lose their job. 4%, especially this IT people, they are been assigned work from the home. 30%, 31% of employees did not get affected because of COVID-19, and the 7% of employees, they have reduced their job quality due to COVID-19, reduced hour. They have been their work, like they have been paid less salary compared to what they used to pay. Then the job working hours also has been reduced. People, they have went in shift and all. So this has affected really employment status, and even which ultimately affects even our Indian economy. And 56% of people, they just quit their job because due to the family responsibilities. Here the most of the employees in this category, most of the employees who were working out of India. So due to the family responsibilities, they were not able to attend their job, and they have come back to India, and they have been jobless now. In this slide, we will see overview of mental health during COVID-19. Of course, all of you know that there was a threat of COVID-19 when it was before it came before India. There was a threat, and it has mentally disturbed so many people. Like I have captured two different pie charts here. One is before COVID-19 and one is after COVID-19. So 6% of people were never had any mental health issues. Like they were completely fine, and the 24% of people, they were like never ever had mental health issues. Then 50% of people were having occasionally, like it depends on the incidences and work pressure and all. They use occasionally, they used to have mental health issues, and 16% people were regularly having mental health stress, and the 4% people, they were actually diagnosed with mental health. And if you see here, after COVID, after this pandemic, from in April 2020, the numbers has changed drastically. There were only 16% of people were having regular mental health issues. But after COVID-19, in April 2020, 33% of people were developed mental health issues regularly. 38% of people, like 50% of people were having occasionally. Now that number has reduced to 38. But on other hand, the 33% of people are regularly affected with mental health issues, and almost, and 12% of people almost never having that, which was before, which was 24%. Now it has reduced to 12%. And like from 6% to 4% people are never having, and the 13% of people were actually diagnosed with mental health issues, which number was just 4%, and after COVID-19 it has gone to 13%. So this really this has really impact on the mental health issues. This number I have captured according to India. This is not only about the globe, but this is according to India. And finally, I would like to thank to the audience for their attention for this session, and especially thanks to Dr. Tejendra Rajput, who has invited me for the today's talk, who has considered me to eligible for today's talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very clear-cut idea of tuberculosis before the COVID-19 and during the COVID-19 and post COVID-19, sir. Even the student from commerce faculty and the arts faculty can understand your could understand your delivery. Such a beautiful delivery was yours, sir. Now may I request chairperson of this session, Honorable Dr. P.D. Muske, sir, to open the session for the question answer session and for your expert opinion and comment on this session. Over to Dr. P.D. Muske, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, welcome,
thank you,
sir.
Dr.
Yes.
Pankaj Girase, sir. Thank you for this excellent presentation, sir.
Pleasure, sir.
Sir has covered all the aspects very nicely, and he talked about how to bring the awareness about TB and its need in medchem research area. He also focused on how we can increase or enhance the anti-TB activity of piperazine and its active against TB strain and its SAR study and space for the future researchers also. He developed a novel piperazine containing TB active drug molecules. He mentioned in his talk. He also correlate the TB and COVID-19 and the impact of COVID-19 on mental health and educational health, etc. Sir, once again, thank you. Now, this session is open for question answers. So I request participant, would you please ask question to the sir? Participants?
Muske, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Mahale, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My question
Welcome,
is
sir.
to Girase, sir.
Yes, sir. Please ask.
Girase, sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, please, Mahale, sir.
Sir, ask the question, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Mali, sir, proceed, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
you are audible.
You are.
Yes, sir.
Male sir, please proceed. I think your mic is mute.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Again?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Welcome.
Please proceed.
There was an internet connectivity problem.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Girash, sir, you did a very fantastic presentation.
Thank you so much.
And my question is to you that what is the target location of the piperazine drug on the bacterium? That means on TB bacterium.
Yeah. Okay. This is very good question actually. So so far we have not gone to mechanical stage. Once you go to mechanical studies, then you will be having specific target. But till now we have just checked the activity of our compounds to the TB strain, which is very common, H37RV strain. I think most of the medicinal chemistry people, they are aware of this strain, H37RV. This is a antimycobacterium strain. So far we tested again that strain. And the mechanical study, we are going to carry forward our work to the mechanistic study after publishing this H37RV activity.
Okay. Means I wanted to ask that means the drug is acting on the cell wall of the bacterium or the molecular level of the bacterium. It was my question actually.
Like the common TB strain, like this microbiologists, they develop the strains in their lab. So this is H37RV is complete strain.
Okay.
Yeah, that is mycobacterium strain. They call it as a mycobacterium strain, H37RV. So far we tested against that strain only. Then in further studies, if you go for further study, then there are different specific targets like DNA gyrase. In DNA gyrase also, if you go to specifically, then gyrase A, gyrase B, like that mechanistic study, then
yes,
in
I
that
got
we
it.
can test it against, yeah.
Anyone again asking question?
Participant,
Please ask.
anyone is
Got it,
there
sir.
to ask the
Got it.
questions? I think that there are no participants to ask the question.
Since nobody is ready to ask question, so I will take that opportunity, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
have one
Most welcome,
question.
sir. Most
Yes, sir. So the question is very basic. Which type of substituent are mostly used to bind the piperazine ring to enhance its activity against TB?
Yeah. Okay, so this question is putting me into the trouble because what moiety I have bind with piperazine, that I'm not allowed to disclose here. But I can tell you some basic moieties which people have used. You know imidazopyridine?
Yes.
Imidazopyridine. They have bind imidazopyridine. Then I have seen in most of the active piperazine cases, they have bind even this isoniazide also. Hydrazide, they form a sheep base. They just develop some phenyl piperazines, putting aldehyde at the corner, and they form sheep base with piperazine. Even that also has given very good activity. Then quinolines also they have used. Then thiazolidinones also they have used. Then in some of the cases, I have even seen the oximes, different linkers of oxime. Then piperazine with urea, thiourea, that also have shown really good activity. Thiourea and ureas they have used as a linker. With any other heterocyclic moiety, that also has even shown really good activity.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Over to Banswade, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure.
On behalf of the institution and college and organizing committee of this international conference, I thank you from the heart of heart, Pankaj sir, once again. Despite of it, we are very pleased to you to have as the resource persons on this occasion. So it is our duty and privilege to express our gratitude towards you and the chairperson of this session. So may I request Professor Lakshman Parad sir to propose a vote of thanks. Over to Parad
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Proceed, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning to one and all present over here. I am Lakshman Parad. As a member of organizing committee of the International E-Conference, I am here to propose a vote of thanks. Honorable guest speaker, Dr. Pankaj Girasi sir, Durban, South Africa. Honorable chairman of institution, Sri Vijay Patil sir. Respected principal of college, Dr. V.S. Sonavni sir. Respected vice principal and organizing secretary of the International E-Conference, Dr. C.Y. Patil ma'am, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank you all the dignities. On behalf of organizing committee of International E-Conference and Arts, Commerce, Science College Onde, I would like to express my gratitude to our honorable guest speaker, Dr. Pankaj Girase sir from Durban, South Africa, to take out valuable time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you, sir, for inspiring and encouraging us with your valuable words on this special day. I extend my gratitude to the chairperson of session, Dr. P.D. Muske. I also thank to all the participants for their active participation. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir. Back
Yes,
to
sir.
Bansure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dear participants, there is an announcement from the organizing committee. We have a break for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, the plenary session 2 is going to be started. Please, I kindly request you all not to leave the meeting. Announcement is over.
Hello, Bansode sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. बरोबर, sir.
Yes, sir. We will start.
Yes, sir. Shall we start? Hello. May I?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sir,
I had asked you,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
Hello.
Let's start, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Dear participants, once again, a very good morning, you all. I welcome you on behalf of the organizing committee for the session 2 of this international conference. Dear participants, we have as the resource persons for this session 2, the dynamic personality, Honorable Dr. Kinjal Ahi ma'am. Ma'am is the head of the PG Department of Economics, Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. We have the chairperson of the session, Honorable Dr. Chetna Patil ma'am, the vice principal of our college. I heartily welcome you, ma'am, Kinjal Ahi ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, absolutely, ma'am. Yes, clearly. Thank you so much once again. At the very beginning of this session, may I request the coordinator of this conference, International E-Conference, esteemed Professor Pathari sir, to introduce such a dynamic personality who we have today on this occasion. May I request once again Professor Pathari sir to introduce the resource persons of today's session 2, Honorable Dr. Kinjal Ahi ma'am. Over to Pathari sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Bansode sir.
Welcome, sir. Yes, sir.
Host is stop my video. With,
Vishal Nikam sir. I request
Please,
Vishal sir.
Yeah. Let me check.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Tadi sir, can you try once?
Yes, sir. Yes. Now, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. A very good morning, everybody. It gives a immense pleasure to introduce the dynamic personality like Honorable Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am.
Just a sec. Is it only I who's listening some music in the background? Can it be?
Vishal
Thank
sir,
you so
please
much.
stop the music. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind suggestion.
Can I start, sir?
Yes, sir. Proceed, sir. That is, sir.
Okay. Thank you. A very good morning. It's give me immense pleasure to introduce the dynamic personality like Honorable Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am, who is joined with us, the resource person of this session today. Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am is the head of the PG Department of Economics from Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. Ma'am's educational qualification is, ma'am is a gold medalist in MA Economics with Mathematical Economics and Economics from MS University, Baroda, as well as Madam is NET qualified and PhD in Economics. Madam vast teaching, research, and training experience is more than 20 years. She has also completed certificate course in behavioral economics in action through EDX from University to Toronto. Presently, Madam is working as a Deputy Chairman UGC Gas Phase 2 in the department. And she is also working as a member of Governing Council, Agroeconomic Research Center, Sardar Patel University, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, Government of India, member of ICPESH, API, NAC, NIRF, and several committees in the Sardar Patel University, as well as member of BOS Economics, Sardar Patel University, and EMK Bhavnagar University. Madam has published 5 research papers in Scopus Journal, Emerald Elviser publication, and Routledge in print, and completed 3 major and 1 minor research project from NDDB, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. Madam's area of research and interest of economics is in higher education. She is also trainer at the A grade certified national trainee by National Skill Development Corporation of India, and has been cooperate the community soft skill trainer, farmer program coordinator, teams coach, and TDS speaker. I am very happy to introduce the very dynamic personality, respected Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Over to Professor Mr. Bansode.
A sweet and beautiful introduction of the resource person. Ma'am's, as Professor Patari sir said, CV is very vast. Due to the time constraint, we have cut short her introduction over here. So may I request Honorable Chair, resource persons of this session, Dr. Kinjal Ahi ma'am, to take over the dais to grace us on this occasion. Over to Dr. Kinjal Ahi ma'am.
A very good morning to one and all present here. At the outset, I am extremely thankful to SGVSS Pratishthan Arts, Commerce and Science College, Onde, for having me here. It's an honor to be a resource person in this international conference organized by you all. And from whatever I am able to make out since morning, you all are pretty well organized and things are going punctually pretty well. Also, at the same time, I would like to thank Professor Anil Pathari for such a generous, kind introduction. Thank you, sir, for introducing still so elaborately. I had given you the autonomy to cut short the CV, but you could have still cut it short further. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you for having us here. And yes, Mr. Bansode also, thank you. Also, at the same time, I should mention Mr. Rahul Bansode ji. It's been around 3 months ago that he had sent this invitation and we started working upon this agreement for the day. So I thank you, Mr. Rahul also. Also, the technical support team is so kind to bear all my tantrums since morning because I wanted to assure that we really have systems in place so that we don't have any botherations further. So thank you for having me here. Proceeding further. So I was listening to Mr. Pankaj Girase ji's previous presentation, and it was hardcore science, and still I equally enjoyed learning and listening to some of his conclusions. But I come from a social science background. So, and for us, the laboratory is the society, right? So even though we do not experiment on people, but we observe people. So our subjects are not chemicals, they are people and people's behavior. So having heard this particular conference title, that it is surrounding COVID, So I thought that I should rather focus on some issues, even though my area of research specialization is higher education. I work more prominently in area of research of economics of higher education. But today, I think what I've brought to the table is one of our preliminary studies that we did. And so I'd like to share some of those ideas here. So before I start even talking about it, let me give you a little bit of brief introduction as to what am I going to talk all about today. So COVID-19, we know it has affected all of us so dominantly, and particularly we people, right? And so much of our behavior has got affected because of COVID. But particularly of my interest, okay, I can see Mr. Rohan's hand up. Is it intentionally or by mistake? Mr. Rohan, do you have something to share? Is there any issue in?
Who is Rohan? Do you want to ask any question? Do you have any problem, please?
No, sir. Right. I just have to give us attendance.
Yes.
Yeah, and
proceed, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to very soon share the PPT, but before that, I have some ideas to be shared. So one, that I'm the only female panelist here in the 4 resource persons team, and so I should do justice to the gender issues as well. If I don't do that, I fail in my duty. So my topic surrounds around gender issue, although I do not like to be affiliated as a feminist, but there are certainly prominent issues that popped up even more predominantly during COVID, which I want to bring to highlight over here. So what I'm going to basically talk about is from my primary data collection done way back in 2020, actually. And so today I'm revealing some of those research outputs that we had done regarding the primary data collection. So necessarily the study was that during the lockdown, how has the lockdown affected people? So as I said, I am from a social science background. So we are going to talk about the societal concerns here during the COVID. So yes, suddenly the lockdowns were announced. We were in our houses for 3+ months, and that has affected a lot of socio-psychological behavior of the people. Particularly, I was, talking to so many of my friends, and they would say, and particularly female friends, so they would say, anyways, we were struggling with managing so many tasks in parallel, home and office, and now we are doing office from home, which is entirely a different set of struggles. So this was a common line of argument from all of my friends, particularly those working in academics and in higher education. So those were professors and teachers teaching in higher education. So we were learning Zoom. Today, after 2 years, we are so comfortable with Zoom. That too will be put to test in short while I'll be trying to share my screen and all. But yes, we've got comfortable with sharing screens. But at that point, around 2 years ago, we were still learning the technology. We had to teach our students those technologies so that we could communicate better and not let affect the students' career and let it be delayed because of the COVID lockdown. So that was the time period that I'm talking about. Particularly, my line of argument here in this entire presentation is that while during COVID lockdown, we were all locked in our homes, and academicians in particular, so professors and teachers teaching in higher education, it did not affect male teachers and female teachers equally. My basic contention here is it was against and in favor of males and against females, the entire set of events that happened during lockdown, and its impact had very severe consequences on female academicians in higher education. So once again, before I jump into the details of it, my basic line of contention is that during COVID-19 and in particular during lockdowns, when we were locked in our homes, the academicians teaching in higher education, both males and females were locked down, but the impact of that lockdown on professional and career aspects of females was more negative as compared to the impact on the males is the basic line of contention of whatever I have to argue from here on. Before I proceed, just to give you a little bit of a brief idea, so I've got a video to share to tell you a little bit briefly the entire story, how it works, right? So I'm going to share a small little video here, which is 3 minutes, and I'm going to repeat it twice because it's in beautiful, simple English, but in the first time, I do not assume that we'll get a pretty clear idea. So I'm going to share it twice. So kindly allow me a minute's time in the meanwhile that I share my screen. Yeah. So
Yes.
And Mr. Bansode, I can see you actively being here. So you can let me know.
Vishal sir.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it.
Yes,
but
yes.
Kindly let me know if you have any troubles in seeing the video. All right. Yeah. I'm playing it here.
Yes, please.
Can you see it and hear it?
Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to help us conduct this experiment today.
We were of different ages. We were made to like stand in a line.
Now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. If your answer is a yes, step forward. If it's a no, please step back. Here goes. Ready? Did you learn how to ride a bicycle before the age of 10? Did you learn music in school? Did you take any lessons in sports? And no, video games are not a sport, even if it has the word game in it. Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
In the beginning, I think the questions were more general. People were still going forward and backward. Questions like, it was funny to see like the cooking question. There were a lot of men who went ahead and there were women who were going behind.
Do you usually make all the household bill payments yourself? Do you know the circle rate in your area? Do you know the price of gold today? Do you know the exact breakup of your salary?
As the questions unfolded, the stark difference came out visibly.
Do you know the details of the financial documents you're asked to sign? Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consulting anybody? Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget?
Like you think you're doing okay, but then you're like, okay, these are kind of important things that I don't look at.
Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds? Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? Do you make the investments for your family members or your spouse? Do you file your own income tax return? Now, everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially, when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
The minute the questions became about managing money, the gap between men and women became very clear and evident.
You know, women handling certain responsibilities regarding their own life, which were always passed on to someone else in the family or the men.
There was a slight unfairness I realized at that time. But at that point, it seemed normal.
I was upset. I wanted to be at the front of the line. It's like, why don't I know this? Why am I not confident enough to say, yes, I am able to understand this?
It was quite an eye-opener for me because I always depended on the men of the family to take care of my investments and, plan my future.
I felt that obviously men are more into it than women. So eventually I did expect the gap to be there.
Over the years growing up, there were certain very traditionally masculine tropes that were assigned for him and certain traditionally feminine tropes that were assigned for me.
For women, it's practically debarred to learn to know and to focus on money.
I wish I had known from the beginning of my childhood and kind of thought about that I would be doing so much better.
Just actionable measures is what we want, really.
So as I said, I'm going to again repeat it because it's just a 3-minute video and the lessons are important. So I am again going to repeat it for those of us who could not capture the message really very clearly. It's just a 3-minute video. I want you to listen to it really very clearly. Yeah. Are you able to see and listen, organizers?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll once again repeat it for the audience's benefit. I am courteous to Paytm, who have actually come out with this video, and it is absolutely shared for the educational purpose.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to help us conduct this experiment today.
We were of different ages. We were made to like stand in a line.
Now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. If your answer is a yes, step forward. If it's a no, please step back. Here goes. Ready? Did you learn how to ride a bicycle before the age of 10? Did you learn music in school? Did you take any lessons in sports? And no, video games are not a sport, even if it has the word game in it. Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
In the beginning, I think the questions were more general. People were still going forward and backward. Questions like, it was funny to see like the cooking question. There were a lot of men who went ahead and there were women who were going behind.
Do you usually make all the household bill payments yourself? Do you know the circle rate in your area? Do you know the price of gold today? Do you know the exact breakup of your salary?
As the questions unfolded, the stark difference came out visibly.
Do you know the details of the financial documents you're asked to sign? Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consulting anybody? Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget?
Like you think you're doing okay, but then you're like, okay, these are kind of important things that I don't look at.
Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds? Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? Do you make the investments for your family members or your spouse? Do you file your own income tax return? Now, everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially, when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
The minute the questions became about managing money, the gap between men and women became very clear and evident.
You know, women handling certain responsibilities regarding their own life, which were always passed on to someone else in the family or the men.
There was a slight unfairness I realized at that time. But at that point, it seemed normal.
I was upset. I wanted to be at the front of the line. It's like, why don't I know this? Why am I not confident enough to say, yes, I am able to understand this? It was quite an eye-opener for me because I always depended on the men of the family to take care of my investments and, plan my future.
I felt that obviously men are more into it than women. So eventually I did expect the gap to be there.
Over the years growing up, there were certain very traditionally masculine tropes that were assigned for him and certain traditionally feminine tropes that were assigned for me.
For women, it's practically debarred to learn to know and to focus on money.
I wish I had known from the beginning of my childhood and kind of thought about that I would be doing so much better.
Just actionable measures is what we want, really.
All right. The conference today is titled as Multidisciplinary International E-Conference on Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on Economy, Sustainable Development and Health of the Global Society. Is it not, right? So economy, sustainable development and health of the of the global society. Now, the issue is that if we could gather the theme of this video, what we are necessarily saying is women are traditionally, like, you know, all of these women were educated, working, highly earning women, right? They are professionals, some of them, right? While some of them would still be students, that's okay. But these are professional females also, and they were still feeling the guilt consciousness that probably they are not into the financial planning as required in the home. Now, I personally know of so many families where 4 male bread earners in the house expired due to COVID in the last wave, and there were only 3 females left in the family, absolutely clueless with regards to the finance of the home. Left alone other things, even the life insurance policy related papers of those who expired, they were not able to locate, right? So it's a serious concern that we are talking about. We do not claim, or we are not talking here that, you know, empower women only so that, you know, she really just is ahead of the line. That's not the purpose. The purpose is that the very fact that if the female is out of this entire purview of financial planning and money planning, probably even the males, just think for a while, there were so many instances where probably the only bread earner, the male in the family, was hospitalized, right? You were not allowed to contact them because of the COVID reasons. You were not allowed to interact with them. And so in the background, entire finance was to be managed by the female. Now, this is the same female who has been year on year, generation on generation, being kept out of these decisions. And then, even if she was willing and dying to help, the very males who would have patriarchally kept her out of the financial decisions making, probably everyone was suffering, right? So it's not the feminist angle to it which is important. What's important is for a simple fact that everybody should be equipped with financial literacy. Everybody should be aware of, I mean, the societal roles have to be equally divided for the better of the entire civilization and human race to proceed. That's the simple argument from this particular video. So I wanted to bring to the table today this line of argument where the gender roles, it's high time that we wake up to this and divide equally the gender roles, right, in the society. Now, having said that, as I said, my particular purpose here today is going to be a discussion during the COVID. I'm only going to talk about academicians. That's the target group is the teachers teaching in higher education, the male teachers and the female teachers teaching in higher education. When they were locked down at home, what was the kind of impact that was happening, right? So that's the basic idea. I shall now proceed sharing my PPT. Just give me a while. In the meanwhile, I'll share the PPT. Just one sec. Mr. Bansode, can you please confirm if my PPT is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll go on a full screen mode. After this, if you have any issues, you please stop me by telling me that there's a trouble, right? Otherwise, I'll not be able to see the screen, I guess. Can you see my entire screen, sir?
Yes, absolutely, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So I'll proceed from here on. You can stop me wherever you want to. If there is connectivity issues or anything, you also can get back to me on my phone. All right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So impact of COVID, this is what I've titled my presentation for the day today. Impact of COVID-19 on academicians in higher education in India. Deliberations on disguise, because it's not explicit. We are not seeing it. We need to see it. It's disguised. It's hidden. The gender inequity that I'm going to talk about. Right. So the basic theme of the presentation is that COVID-19 has affected teaching and research in higher education because we were just without any warnings locked down in our homes. Those were the times when the lockdown was imposed. Those were the times when we were just about to take our final exams. Students were to give their JEE and NEET kind of exams. That was crucial time. No? So COVID-19 certainly affected teaching and research in higher education. COVID-19 has not affected males and female academicians similarly. So there is some inequity in the effect of COVID-19 on male and female academicians, which I want to draw the attention of the audience here too. COVID-19 has affected female career and professional advancement more negatively than male professionals. Particularly within this scenario, that there was an absence of household assistance by maids, servants, they were gone. That's the support system for working women. But that was gone because during COVID-19, everyone was fearful that the maids and the servants would bring in the home all the COVID. And so most of the servants and all were left out. Patriarchal norms do not have not trained many males. It's not that all the males were not willing to help. So many men were even willing, they were feeling sorry for the females in the family to go through it. But they've not been groomed to help. So those were the kind of issues also. The patriarchal norms never allowed them the opportunity to learn household chores also. Lack of training to do household chores among men, and work from home for women alike. So not only men, so many women who are working women are also not trained and equipped to manage some household activities, which otherwise they are not expected to do. So many a times the working women have outsourced so many activities which they are not then very comfortable doing. So that was another set of issues that pose special lopsided challenges on female faculties teaching in higher education institutes. So that's the basic theme of the presentation that I'm going to talk about. There is some very specific review of literature which highlights these points. Linde and Laya highlight particularly 3 aspects regarding vulnerability of women during pandemic. One was rise in domestic violence. This was world over, not only in India, but world over, because the males were now locked inside the home along with females, staying 24 hours together. People were not used to comfortably live together with their spouses. There was a rise in domestic violence. There was lack of special health protection to females, so female nurses, female doctors, female health workers. So they were not specially given any special treatment because they were females and they had to go back home. Imagine a nurse doing a duty during COVID in a PPE kit for 8 hours, 10 hours, sometimes overworking because of those situations, and then coming back home every day evening fearful that she has to cook food for the family, take care of the children. And so it was a tough time for them to handle. Economic vulnerability faced by females in the job market. So it was particularly biased against females. Yadav vividly articulates that the multi-challenge life faced by working women amidst COVID-19, like women were barely able to master efficient multitasking. Pehle bhi it was a problem, and later during COVID, it became even more prominent to cope up multitasking. And in this case, obviously, self-care had to be ignored. So time is only 24 hours. Now, because I'm required to do many more other things besides the routine things, so the self-care was at a cost, right? So it was at a toll. Physically has particularly observed the impact. Unlike men, women were specially disadvantaged to bear greater responsibilities, both at home and research. Also, there were additional expectations for them to learn new technologies. So, it was not only men who were learning to use Zoom, to use Google Meets and Microsoft Teams platforms. Women had to also learn, right? So many times, even payments were being made online. You were doing shopping online for groceries. So probably there were so many women who would not have explored facilities for online payment, online banking. They were compelled to learn it, but that was coming at the cost of time. Household chores were pushed to female researchers. So, I may be the biggest scientist of the world, but when I'm at home, I'm expected to do certain patriarchally imposed roles, which I cannot escape. And that resulted largely in lesser publications. Research requires focus, which is hard to find for it. So, I'm sitting back with my computer to do some hardcore research, and then suddenly a child crying and I have to rush. If I'm in office, it's a focused work. But if I'm at home, there's so many things going on in the background which keeps on deviating the focus time and again. Adding to the complications are greater expectations from the prompt responses to the review. So if I've published some paper in a journal, they would expect me to promptly respond, which may not happen while working from home. As a result, in contrast, men reported 50% greater output in terms of research during the pandemic as compared to women.
Dear participants, please
it impacts.
Mute your mic, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It impacts the professional progression by female academicians. Because there is no research output, of course, it's going to affect my promotions as well. And so she feels left behind the peers. So this was Faiza Kerkli who is pointing out this. Kolini also particularly researched part-time workers working in university. So as per her observations, university, this is mostly for the foreign universities, where the university revenues were expected to drop down as a loss because of many foreign students did not choose to travel abroad. So a lot of foreign university revenues come from students studying abroad, right? So suddenly that stopped because of COVID, the movements restrictions. And so the university revenues fell. And so there was a clear brunt on the full-time teachers converted to part-time workers, and part-time workers absolutely rendered unemployed. So it was not, even though they had necessary qualifications and eligibility, they were more likely to suffer the plight of economic crisis. So this is the economic impact of COVID as well. Talking about particularly and besides those review of literature, also there are so many reviews which point out the stark bias in favor of males and against females that came prominently out during the COVID-19. So we conducted a survey. So we did this survey. Okay, I'll first show the slide, which was a pan-India survey using Google Forms. So we floated that Google form to whomsoever we knew. So this is a combined research by Professor Mitesh Jaiswal, one of my colleagues here in Sardar Patel University, and myself. So we created a pretty elaborate Google form, and we floated it pan-India, across India. And there was a representation from most of the states. I'll just mention that. So this was conducted, the form was floated from 7 May to 17 May 2020. Only the window was open only for 10 days. And
Vishal sir, please unmute, mute all the participants except ma'am.
Thank you. Right, so data collection was scheduled from 7th May to 17th May 2020. The window was open only for 10 days. And so particularly the idea was to understand that, the lockdown was imposed on 24th March 2020, and then it went for 3 consecutive rounds. And most of the educational institutes were closed down. So the students and the teaching staff were almost in a lockdown up to 17th May, at least till this particular research was carried out. There were subsequent further lockdowns as well. So we use the recall method. So necessarily, like, pandemic did not come banging with an alarm that I'm coming, right? So
who is making this nuisance, please?
Yeah. So pandemic came suddenly, right? It did not allow us, so the most scientific way of doing a social science research would have been that there's an event. So before event, you do you survey some people, then the event happens, then you again go to the same people to see the impact of the event. That would have been the most scientific method. But unfortunately, because all of this was so unalarmed, so we were just absolutely not prepared to go through all of this. So the only option that we had to capture the idea of pre-COVID and post-COVID was using recall method. So necessarily a lot of findings you will see are based on recall method. So we were asking them, what were you doing in this regard before COVID? What were you doing after or during COVID lockdown? So before and during COVID comparisons are based on recall method, although not very scientific, but I think every researcher would understand that in this situation, this is the only option. Of course, a pilot survey was also done. So necessarily, it's an exploratory research. We were trying to explore the impact of COVID on academicians working in higher education with a separate outlook towards males and females. For this, we used a very established tool called the Time Use Survey. So the questionnaire was designed using this very established tool in social sciences called the Time Use Survey. So in the Time Use Survey, basically, I mean, there are many ways of doing time use survey, but what we did was we told them to recall how do they spend their time at the home, what amount of time was involved into household activities and in the professional activities. So time use survey is necessarily a detailed note of how do you go about spending time doing what activity. That's the simplest explanation to the time use survey. I do not have an entire economics audience here, so I'll not elaborate that further. Those who are curious may further access those details. So household chores included routine tasks like cooking, cleaning home, clothes, utensils, child and elderly care. And the professional works included conducting classes, evaluation tasks, that's examination. We were also experimenting with online tests, online exams. We were trying to understand the kind of cheatings that were being done online during online exams. So we were still learning how to cope up with that in case if there was an emergency and we had to go online for evaluation. So many things were happening at that time. Of course, research was also evaluated, and professional self-development. So professional self-development is, undergoing orientation programs, refresher courses, participating in various webinars, workshops. There was a plethora of faculty development programs that were going on during the COVID-19 lockdown. So you were actually, choosing whether I should attend this one or this one. There were so many faculty development programs and other academically, intellectually enhancing activities that were going on during lockdown. So how were males and female professors or teachers in higher education in India spending their time in these activities? That's largely the area of research that we were trying to explore here. As a purpose, so we just floated it. And as many as were willing to respond responded, because of which, and after cleaning some data, some questionnaires were left halfway through, so we removed those questionnaires. Some data were looking contradictory, so we removed some of those. So cleaning of data. After cleaning of data, we have included in this particular response male respondents 138 and 115 female respondents. Data was incorporated here. Faculties that were, so all of these were necessarily faculties teaching in higher education. They were both from public and private sector. Faculties included permanent staff and staff on contract basis as well. And average working years for both of these males and females was more than 10 years. So either on temporary basis or permanent basis, each of the respondents, the average of the respondents working years was more than 10 years. So these were established academicians who were responding. Average family size matters because larger the family, more the household activities required, right? At the same time, if there are more number of females in the family, the work gets better distributed also. But the average family size was between 4 and 5, as is largely the case in the Indian families. So the respondents were from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Puducherry, Karnataka, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Chandigarh, Daman and Diu, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Punjab, Goa, Manipur. So the representation was fairly pan-India, although they were not equally from all of the places. A large part of it did come from Gujarat. So the major findings that I would before I proceed with this, there's a clear understanding that has to be established. These are what I'm going to present here. This is a very comprehensive research. So what I'm going to highlight over here are simple frequency tables. Its statistical analysis and all has been done. It's in the process of publication, because of which I am not very willing to share it here publicly. And so the data has also been converted into percentages, so that there are no copyright issues later in the publication that we have to make. So so these are, having said that, a lot has happened behind, but I'm here simply giving some glimpses related to the discussion here. So what were the findings? With regards to maids, had maids and caretakers before and during COVID-19? Did you have maids and caretakers before and during COVID-19? So this is the responses from female professors in higher education, from male professors in higher education. So what they are representing are different families, all right? I want you all to be really very clear in understanding this. The female respondents were belonging to separate female respondent families. Males, professors and teachers were from separate male families, right? So there's no combination between. So these are not the females from the same houses from where these male respondents have responded. I repeat, the female respondents, whatever data I'm sharing here, is not the same, do not belong to the same family where the data for the male families have been shared. They are separate groups of people that we're talking about. So cooking ke liye, before they had a maid. After, during COVID, they did not have the maid. For utensils, most of the females had maids, not during COVID. For clothes washing, before they had, not during. Sweeping and mopping, before they had maids, not during COVID. Before COVID, they had gardening ke liye people, not during COVID. Child care, some females had caretakers, not during COVID. So, the blue bars is a yes, right? And the oranges are no. So largely you can see a before and during comparison, even though I'm not commenting upon the statistically significant difference, but these are simple frequencies that I've shared with you. Almost similarly for males also, but before, during. So befores were greater, durings were lesser. Some of the cooking and utensils data here are pretty surprising. Maybe some of them were bachelors and the hotels and all were closed, because of which maybe during COVID they had higher number of cooks hired. Utensils, of course, they had to do it themselves. So cooking regular meals. So from here, what I'm sharing is the time spent, by males and females. Actually, I forgot to mention that, time use surveys are basically most predominantly used to highlight the unpaid household services provided by women. So in economics, we believe that, a homemaker, a housewife, is still working at home. If she was not cooking, if a housewife was not cooking, you would have had to hire a cook and you would have to pay. So what is the worth of her cooking, the amount of money that you would have paid to the cook? What is the worth of her doing sweeping and mopping is the amount of money that you would have paid to a maid for sweeping and mopping. And still the fact remains that the maid wouldn't have done an equally efficient job as the females do, right? So those in the background. So from here, whatever I'm sharing is the time spent by males. So the left side diagrams are that of males, right side diagrams are of females. This is before COVID, during COVID for males, before COVID for females, during COVID for females. So the blue is no time at all. Orange is 0 to 1 hours. Gray is 1 to 2 hours. and then the longer duration. So before COVID, obviously the males before and after COVID, yes, some males did start cooking. And so as compared to before COVID, during COVID, males were cooking a little bit more. But look at the graph here. Females, both before and during got even worse. During COVID, females were spending 5 to 6 hours. Initially, 5 to 6 hours was by very few females. But during COVID, 3 to 4 hours, 5 to 6 hours, more than 6 hours, females were cooking regular meals. Now, this is regular meals, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We have yet separate stories to say. Time spent on preparing health diets. Suddenly this is COVID time. So people were getting fruits at home to make fruit juices. They were drinking kadha. So that required extra time. So before COVID, obviously, we were not taking so much of care of making juices and kadha. But during COVID, suddenly this gap increased. At the same time, just 1 minute, I'll just remove this. Yeah. At the same time, but for females, this duration really increased a lot as compared to the before version. Just a minute, I'm not able to change the screen. Yeah. Washing utensils. So before COVID and after during COVID, of course, the females, and now because maids were gone, the females were doing more of the washing utensils. But suddenly, certainly there's a difference between the male graphs and the female graphs. And remember, these are not housewives. These are professors who are teaching in higher education. The respondents only included those males and females who were teaching in higher education. Yeah. Washing clothes, folding them and putting it in the wardrobe takes time. Right? So suddenly, of course, here again, females were doing that more. In all the graphs, we will see that for the males also, the time has increased, but it is not increased equally as that for the females. Yeah. Ironing clothes. So yes, certainly here also, because people were fearful that, the virus will come with the clothes. So ironing was otherwise outsourced to someone would iron the clothes. But during COVID, people were so fearful that most of them wanted to do it at home itself. And doing it at home necessarily meant more female would be involved into that. Teaching kids. So suddenly tuitions were gone. The transition to online tutoring was not still very smooth. But yeah, that impact we can see here. That difference is not much, but still, the good news here is that males took a little bit more responsibility teaching kids as compared to females. But females also, look at this gap. This is still big. So after doing all the household activities, she's sitting back with the kids, teaching them, right? Maybe sometimes attending kids' online classes also to help them groom better. Sometimes even tuitions online, yeah? Taking care of children and elderly. So if they're small children, they need to be bathed, they need to be fed with food, they're dressing, giving medicines to the elderly. So this was always a female task. If you can see here, even before COVID, it was mostly females who was doing it. But after COVID, it became the females had to spend more time doing it because ab ghar pe hain, so aur zyada acha kar sakte hain, you can take care of the children better, you can take care of the elderly better. But that comes at the cost of time, which is visible here. Socializing with distant family members, so suddenly during COVID, we got so free that we suddenly remembered all our relatives all over the places. And so we started calling them. But that was happening more. Yeah. All right. So that was happening more with males. The socializing with distant family members, males were doing more during COVID as compared to females. Females also increased in spending this time, but look at the more than 6 hours. It's only males who were talking more than 6 hours with the distant family members. So this role was being done by males. Although females would have also been willing, but again, time is a constraint. Socializing with distant friends. Socializing with distant friends, former colleagues, purane friends yaad aa rahe hain, and the former colleagues are being remembered, and the associates, existing associates, right? So all my professional networks and all. Now, this is so important in a professional life. Networking with your colleagues, involving more with your networks is so important for a professional upliftment. But females were not able to do it as much as males were doing it. So yes, so males were talking to their old friends, former colleagues, Acha, so what's happening at your place? You get to understand. And that is so much of learning. So I remember when we were, I was also contacting my former colleagues. So they were teaching me, what is going on in their institute with regards to technology, so that they can equip the students better, do research better. So talking to the former colleagues is also an important aspect. Watching TV, yes. So females, of course, you would expect this, that the males were watching a lot more TV compared to females. Before COVID ki comparison, of course, they were watching now during COVID more. Largely females were also watching TV. Probably this is the only resting time between the household works that she was spending. But this is almost equally comparable, with slightly males doing it a bit more. And the 6 hours, more than 6 hours, they're watching maybe 2 movies at a stretch. And also watching TV, of course, increased during the COVID lockdown. Just a sec. How do you see the title? I'm sorry, this is blocking my screen. Yeah, just a minute. I'm missing on this. All right. I'll just need to move the scroll bar so that I can see my own topics. Yes, please. Yeah. I missed all of this. So watching TV, this is the case. Yoga and exercises obviously suddenly had our focuses during COVID. So we started doing that more. But again, males were doing it more compared to females, although the females were also had started involving themselves into yoga and exercises. Hobbies. This is so beautiful to see suddenly, because people were sitting down at their homes. If someone was during their childhood days good at drawing, painting, cartooning, playing music, so suddenly you got good time now to do it. And so hobbies, we were spending more time. But again, males were spending more time compared to females pursuing their hobbies. So drawing, painting, music, so many other things. Now, this is so beautiful. The only best positive impact of COVID lockdown, quality time with spouses and family members. So of course, both males and females alike were able to spend good quality time with the family members during lockdown as compared to before lockdown. So of course, in your daily working life, you cannot spend that much time with spouses and family members, but later you could do that. Now, this is all the previous slides were a calculation for on daily basis, right? Now, what I'm going to talk about is, because you know that some tasks are done once in a week, right? They are not done daily. So, like cooking special sweets, special snacks, cakes. Cakes what had become the buzzword during lockdown. Almost probably every female sitting back at home would have attempted to cook cake, learn how to cook cake, and would have made cakes, because birthdays were coming during the lockdown. Also, you were not allowed to maybe buy cakes from the bakeries, even though they were online available. You were so fearful not to bring them, and so suddenly females got excited to learn how to cook cakes, and once in a week sweets and snacks also. So certainly, yeah, some males also started attempting doing all of that, but 100% the females were so much into this activity. Decorating, repairing, mending your home. At least in this, yeah, I would have expected males being involved more, and that is true also. But we've also clubbed here decorating home. So, women sitting back at home, they would now be able to think better as to how to improve, how to beautify this corner of my home, what to do further because this is creating a problem at home. So, plumbing work, carpentry work, so much was going on during COVID because you were able to focus now on the mending of the home as well. Maintaining and managing financial records and planning. To my most pleasant surprise, women were spending more time here in terms of maintaining financial records and managing financial records or making a financial planning. But remember, this is still record keeping and planning, not financial decision making. So insurance policy has been taken. So to maintain that insurance policy, papers, and to assure that the premiums are being paid. So she was into it, and she was taking care in a little bit better manner as compared to males as well here. Planning for future and uncertainties. As much as I say that it's a patriarchal society to lean more household chores on women, equally there is a social taboo that a male is the bread earner. So, if a female is qualified and she's not working, to some extent, society will not be very problematic with that part. But if a male member is not earning, that's not societally acceptable. And so we have to equally accept this social taboo that a male is expected to earn. He cannot escape that responsibility of not earning, not being the breadwinner. So the planning for the future and uncertainties, obviously this burden was greater on males, and so it's clearly visible here during lockdown as compared to females during lockdown. So if a female, so both the members in the family were working, if the female's job is gone, of course it's worrisome, but not as worrisome probably as the male's job loss. At least again, this is a societal taboo with which we are living. Academic related aspects. So again, I remind you all that the females, when I say females, these are not housewives, these are female professors and these are male professors. So the question asked was, were they using online video applications involving themselves like Zoom, Google Classroom before COVID and during COVID? So the blue part here is a yes, orange part here is a no. So almost equally you can see that the males and the females both spent almost an equal time learning online video applications like Zoom and Google Classroom. Used online academic resources like MOOC and SWAYAM. So these we know are faculty development, very helpful in faculty development. So you can take up courses on SWAYAM online, you can take MOOC courses online, but probably the enough marketing of it happened pretty much later than the COVID lockdown. And so now this is picked up. But we are talking of May 2020, when neither males nor females were still pretty open to pursuing these kind of courses available online. Participated in online webinars. We are currently in an online webinar, right? So obviously we know for the fact that webinars were happening before COVID also, online webinars, and during COVID also. But before COVID, we didn't bother much attending online webinars because we had physical seminars and conferences to visit, right? So we were opting those more, but suddenly because of the lockdown, everyone was attending online webinars, even international online webinars, right? So you sitting here with the comfort from home, you could attend a conference happening in Europe or Australia, and with the comfort of your laptop clicks, right? So suddenly this was obviously visible. Yeah, I'm audible and the video slides are clear, right? The organizers, it's going smooth.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Very smoothly. It's
Thank
going.
you. Thank you. Yeah. Participated in online orientation programs or refresher courses. Again, pretty much similar to like MOOC and SWAYAM. This did not pick up during the first wave, and this particular research happened during the first wave, and so we can clearly see that there was not enough marketing yet happening, and so participation was almost equally bad for males and females. Of course, it's slightly improved, but not up to the mark. The question asked to both males and females was, did you prepare any research work during the COVID-19 lockdown which was ready to publish? So, the males and the females both were asked, did you do some research work which was ready? It may not have been published, but it was at least because you were at home, you could do that. Were you ready? Were you ready with some research work which was ready to publish? So the left bar here is that of males, and the right bar here is that of the females. And the blue is a yes, pardon me, and the orange is a no. So yes, the males were certainly a little bit better, almost a 10% gap that they were prepared with a ready to publish research work compared to females. So females devoted a little bit lesser time. Although it was still a pleasant surprise for me to see this happening, because I was expecting this data to be worse, but thankfully it was not that bad. Did you actually publish any research work during lockdown? So during lockdown, yeah, most of the things were closed. So both males and females couldn't really publish a lot of, and remember, this was during the first wave. The change is sudden. You've suddenly been pulled out of office and pushed inside the homes. So by the time you're still adjusting and coming out of the office, settling in home, enjoying rather being at home, working from home. So, now probably during the third wave, if at all we are calling this as a third wave, things have normalized, like today is a working day and we are working, right? It's although I'm working from home today because of a little bit tragedy at the department, but the fact remains that for me, even if I would have been in an office, now I've learned how to cope up working from home, right? But all of this data is during the first wave. So I was still struggling. I mean, as respondents were still struggling, settling with the online mode and work from home mode. The technology was still not in place. Internet connections were not in place. Gadgets were not in place. So many people would have purchased during COVID a better internet connection, better gadgets to avail internet facility and all. So all of that is now settled. But this is a survey during the first wave where the readiness was still not much. And so you can obviously see the impact. Although, as suggested by review of literature, the gap was not that big between males and females, which again, I'm appreciative about. No, rather probably the blame is on both males and females equally, that we couldn't cope up with the situation at that time. So they were asked certain attributes about the professional task during the lockdown. So what did they feel about professional tasks done by them during lockdown? So during lockdown, they were taking classes, they were conducting exams, they were publishing research work, preparing research work. So many things were happening in parallel. So how did they feel about professional work that they did? How did the males feel about the professional work? How did the females feel about the professional work? So, so satisfied, sense of accomplishment, confident. So the blue is strongly agree, orange is agree, gray is neutral, yellow is disagree, and dark blue is strongly disagree, right? So this is a Likert scale used. Those of us in the social science, we are aware of the Likert scale. I am yet not, I'm not to disclose the Likert scale outcome. I'm simply showing here the frequency. So sense of accomplishment was the best for the females. They felt happy about the professional tasks that they were doing. Even they were confident more compared to the males. Even in case of males, they were more satisfied, more sense of accomplishment and confident. But the females were doing equally, females were having an equally positive sense towards the professional task done by them. They were even asked about the negative attributes. So I was so happy to see this data. So, so the light blue is on the bottom. The light blue is strongly agree, orange is agree, gray is neutral, yellow is strongly is disagree, and the dark blue on the top is strongly disagree. So if you could look at the data, both for males and females, No, the strongly disagree is more, which means they did not have many negative feelings regarding the professional task. They were not feeling left out in competition. They were not feeling vulnerable and helpless. They were not feeling that gender inequality was existing. They were not indifferent. So they had more positive traits about their own professional accomplishments during lockdown, which was really pleasant to see. And I cannot say that it was more or less between the males and the females, but overall females disagreement was certainly more. So relatively probably the females felt a little bit better as compared to males with regards to professional tasks. Similarly, they were asked about household activities, so how did the males and the females feel about, suddenly they have to start cooking, washing utensils, wash clothes. So how did the males and females feel about it? So again, the good news here is strongly agree, and agree is the biggest part, right? So yes, males and females were feeling satisfied. They enjoyed doing household work. They cherished love and caregiving. So they were giving love, they were taking care. So they enjoyed, they cherished this. They strongly agreed with this. Perfect break from demanding professional times. But females did not feel that it was a perfect break from demanding professional times. Only this is a different observation here. So females did not feel that it was a perfect break. But males did feel positive about this angle as well, that it was a good break from professional tasks, which are so dominating otherwise. Fun-filled family teamwork. So that was also strongly agree, right? So suddenly everybody was working together, children and males and females and elderly, everybody's sweeping, everybody's mopping, everybody's cooking together, gardening happening together. So teamwork in the family was fun-filled. So largely a positive trait, and it was agreed upon. A pleasant news here. Again, equally, so when they were asked, ki ghar ka kaam, household chores, ke liye, did they have a negative feeling? So most of them disagree. Means they liked doing whatever they were doing. So they were asked, did they feel vulnerable and helpless? They say strongly disagree, or at least neutral. They did not feel tired and exhausted. They did not feel that the household activities were boring, monotonous. Every day morning you're getting up and cooking and washing clothes. So they did not feel monotonous or bored. No respect given for doing household chores. No, they did not feel that. They said that they were respected for doing household activities. Did they feel like being a replacement of maid? Because there are no maids, so I'm being replaced by a maid. So there was no such negative feeling, largely both in males and in females. So they all disagreed with negative attributes. They agreed with positive attributes, both for household activities and for professional activities. So largely, at least the perceptions or the mindsets were largely positive during the lockdown, both for household activities as well as the professional activities. This is the last slide, I guess I'm sharing. So both males and females were asked if, just a minute. Both males and females were asked if females shared greater responsibility during COVID for the household activities as compared to males in the family. So they were asked that, what do you think? Did the female shoulder greater responsibility of household activities? So both males and females said yes, but more males said yes than females. So in fact, it is quite opposite to expect, right? So females said, no, we did not share that much greater responsibility. That's the habit of the females, right? They keep on doing, they take it for granted that obviously humko hi karna hai types, right? So they did not, in fact, say as many as males, they did not say a yes. So females shared greater responsibility. More males said yes, females share a greater responsibility as compared to women. But look at this contrast here. This is so surprising. Same males, when they were asked, do you think your female colleagues were at a disadvantage due to additional household works compared to males in terms of achieving academic advances or promotions and success during COVID-19 lockdown. So what's happening here is very interesting. So males are agreeing that the females are working more, but they are not agreeing that because of working more, the females are at a disadvantage in the workplace. More females think that they are at a disadvantage at the workplace. So I once again repeat the conclusion of both of these diagrams. So males are saying that yes, females shoulder greater responsibility, but they don't agree as much as females agree that because of that additional shouldering of responsibility, their career is being affected. And that's a very lopsided, patriarchal kind of a perception, right? So that's with regards to the males and the females' opinion. There is, I mean, this entire research was so comprehensive, and there's so much more that we have surveyed. We probably have plans to come out with around more than 2 papers out of this particular survey. But as of now, I intended to share only the frequencies. A lot of statistical work has also happened in the background, but because there'll be copyright issues later, I wish not to share those. So with this, at least, I think being a typical professor, we are so used to going on and on speaking. I did my job. It's now over to the organizers to take it forward. Thank you so much for listening so patiently.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, I'm speechless. I do not have words to appreciate your lecture and delivery of way of delivery, especially, ma'am. It is said that literature is the mirror of the society, and you exactly delivered the mirror of the society during the COVID pandemic situation, ma'am.
Yeah.
Definitely by giving the very living practical examination with the video, and that video is not just a video, but the life lesson video is there, because you have shown that video having different men and women with different ages. That is very important to point what I understood from your delivery, ma'am, here. So
this coming from a male is more appreciable. So although I do not like to be affiliated as a feminist, but
definitely.
I'm equally sensitive for rural urban issues. I'm equally sensitive for poor rich gap. But during COVID, the most dominant gap that was visible was between the gender, at least in the academicians. So I chose to do this. So thank you so much for listening.
Definitely, you may be a great mother, ma'am. Yes. We experienced through your delivery here.
Thank you so much.
Now we have the chairperson of this session, Dr. Chetna Patil, ma'am, the head of the Department of Chemistry from our college. So I invite Dr. Chetna Patil, ma'am, to take over the dais for the comment on this lecture and views, and open this session for the question answer. Over to Dr. Chetna Patil, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
First of all, I am very thankful to Dr. Kenjal Aire, ma'am, for such an elaborated speech and for making us going back to the memories and problems we faced during the pandemic, that is during the lockdown. Ma'am's topic was on impact of COVID-19 on academician in higher education in India. I like to say that in general, the lockdown has increased the burden of household chores for women. Offices and schools were closed, due to which husbands and kids were at home full time, helping staff such as maids and dhobi. Everyone has they have left their for their hometowns. Elderly were at risk of infection, so greater care and attention was given to be them. For working women, the situation was worse. Work from home has doubled their workload. It was not an holiday for any of women, because everyone was enjoying a bit, not all everyone, as according to the situation which in financial problems were faced by many of the people, but many of them were too enjoying the lockdown period as an holiday. But it was that much hard for the women to carry on everything, all the work, and also they have to handle their offices too. So it was not a holiday for her. She needed to cook, clean, wash, feed, teach, and also attend to her workplace requirement at the same time. Lucky were few in which they got support of their spouses and children to reduce the workload. But it was like many of them were, they have to handle the primary responsibility of the house and also of the offices. We can say that there is no place like home, but it's not true for all the women, because at many places there is abuse, violence for women comes in various forms. Women have abused relationships. They have to suffer physically, emotionally, psychologically, and there are various other aspects in which women have to suffer. But this is what uh, it is, and in spite of all these difficulties, women have handled every role in every place or everywhere. Ma'am have also done the survey. While observing the slides, we can see that the time difference between for cooking, for making various healthy diets, for washing clothes, and various slides were there, and which we can see the time difference before and after the COVID-19 situation. And even though the most part, as Bansode sir already said, the most interesting part was the video in which we can say that even if we are financially dependent, but we don't have the ideas how to manage or how to invest our money. As said by madam, we have the ideas to invest the money in various sectors, but we don't take decisions. We have to ask our husband or our parents that we should invest our money or not. So this was the thing. Even if I felt like I was imagining, if, what if I'm standing in that row, and where would I will be, in the front stage or at the backstage?
Yes, sir. Well said, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
well said, ma'am.
It's so much an eye opener for
Yeah.
all males and females equally.
Yes, yes, definitely, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. Proceed, ma'am. Proceed, ma'am.
Academic situation, but we can't take the financial decisions. We can take the academic decisions, but we can't take the financial decisions. And this is what it is, an eye-opening video.
And imagine, this is the most educated of the females you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Left
yes,
alone the uneducated females. That's entirely still a different story.
Yeah.
This is what I'll see here, and I'll ask anyone from the participant if they are having any questions.
Yes, dear participants, I request you to ask questions to the resource persons if you have.
I'm sure it's touched so many people. Yes, please.
As you said that you had given the Google form and you have taken all this information. Like how much time it took to collect all this information?
The window was open, ma'am, only for 10 days.
Yeah.
It was the window was open only for 10 days because we did not we unfortunately what happened was, you know, we were listening that the lockdown will open up, and I did not want to lose on the opportunity. In recall method, what is very important is at least one time frame you catch hold of. So we could not capture the before COVID situation. So at least during COVID situation, we had to be very scientifically strict about it. So we had prepared the entire form by 5th of May, and we floated it on 7th of May. And till 17th of May, we had kept the window open, because after 17th of May, we had started listening that in many parts of India, the lockdown will be lifted up. After that, I did not want to wanted the respondent to recollect even what happened during lockdown. So one part was anyways they were recollecting during before lockdown, whatever happened, they were made to recall it. At least during lockdown, whatever happened, I wanted it to come out really very genuinely. So we closed the window. So the day was open only for 10 days. Within 10 days, we were open. As many respondents we will get, we will be okay with that. So we received a lot of responses, but after cleaning of the data, as we do it in social sciences, we accepted the responses of 138 males and 115 females. But all the data were here converted into percentages, so that the difference in the number of males and females doesn't dominate the impact. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. It was important in terms of the technique used in the research paper. Yeah, thank you.
Is there anybody to ask the question?
There would be so many people here belonging to arts field, even in economics. I guess that you have the HOD here today with us in this session. So
Yes.
I would very strongly suggest that, you know, if some of you are interested, one of my MPhil students did it on unpaid household services, and these are the kind of techniques where you try to measure the impact that women make even sitting at home, while it is considered what's wrong, I mean, क्या हो रहा है, घर पे ही तो बैठे हैं, but वो घर पे ही नहीं बैठे हैं, उनके घर पे बैठने की वजह से आज आप कहीं जा रहे हैं, right? So
Yes, surely.
That's the tool that you need to read more about. Time use surveys are a prominent tool in economics that we use. Yeah, thank you for all the patience. Yeah,
Thank you so much once again for thought-provoking and actually it is introspecting, we can say, ma'am. It lead all the participants to introspect ourselves by listening you on this occasion.
Thank you.
Ma'am, it is our privilege and duty to express deep sense of gratitude towards you, like this the dynamic personality. So may I call upon my colleague, Mrs. Borse Arji ma'am, to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Over to Professor Borse ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible. Please
Thank
proceed.
you, sir. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Honorable guest speaker of the session, Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am from Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. Honorable Chairman of the institution, Sri V.G. Patil sir. Respected Principal of College, Dr. V.S. Sonone sir. Respected Vice Principal and Organizing Secretary of this International E-Conference, Dr. C.Y. Patil ma'am, and all the participants. On behalf of the Organizing Committee of International E-Conference and Arts, Commerce and Science College Onde, I would like to express my gratitude to our honorable guest speaker, Dr. Kinjal Ahir ma'am, who spared time from her busy schedule to grace the occasion. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing your crucial work and sharing with us that how the COVID-19 has affected female career and professional advancement more negatively than the male professionals. Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring and encouraging us with your valuable words. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am. I extend my gratitude to the chairperson of this session, Dr. C.Y. Patil, ma'am. I also thank all the participants for their active participation. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for expressing gratitude towards the dignitaries on this occasion. Dear participants, thank you so much, ma'am, for being present and gracious.
Thank you so much. I'll quit here. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much once again. Dear participants, we have a lunch break for half an hour. After half an hour, the session 3 will start. After session 3, we have valedictory function. After that, the program will come to an end. Please note.
Sir, at 2 o'clock, we will start the session, sir.
Yes, we will. Yeah. Dear participants, the session 3 will be started at 2 o'clock noon. Announcement is over.
Same link for the next session.
Yeah. All the participants are kindly requested to join with the same link at 2 o'clock. Shall I stop here, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.